Hey, no AAR today, but we're going to do some USSR strategies, early war specifically. You will be playing the early war every single game you play in Twilight Struggle. So it's very important to get a good opening because USSR don't have the late war advantage that the US cards and US playstyle will give in a game of Twilight Struggle. So it's really important to get a great opening, a great start to really get the ball rolling. So let's start off with some openings for the USSR. There's really two main ones. First one is the EEU safe opening. As you can see, it is safe to an EEU headline and also can still threaten Italy with 1 point from Yugoslavia. Okay, so even if they EEU as a headline or EEU in play, you still have the buffer from the extra 1 point in East Germany, 1 point in Poland, to not lose control of those countries and not fear Europe domination from the US player. The point in Yugoslavia is still there to make sure you can still put points into Italy or put points into Greece. The final opening is the Comic-Con Warsaw Trap. It starts off like this. The IPs are placed in Austria, Yugoslavia. After a Comic-Con or Warsaw Pact, additional IPs are placed as indicated by the green, and it allows you to threaten West Germany and Italy with realignment rolls, getting +1 on each. So your opening really is dependent. It's up to you. EU allows you to use the card safely to bolster up somewhere else around the world, while the Warsaw Pact Comic-Con Trap is very offensively minded, very hard for the US to defend against, and you could be even looking at a game where you can just clear them out of Europe. So we're going to go cover some timings for the early war for USSR. The two important parts of timings in the early war is that it's 3 turns, and the two main sections is scoring, when Middle East, when Europe, when Asia is going to get scored, and the all-important reshuffle after turn 2. So to cover the reshuffles, the easiest one, on turn 3, the early war deck, when redrawing cards, will run out. And that's when there'll be a crucial reshuffle. That means every single card in the early war should have seen play or should have seen or is been through some player's hand. This allows you to really guess, really anticipate what cards the opponent has in their hand. I mean, by turn 2, you should really know what cards are still in the deck and can base your movements, base your plays due to that. The last important part about that all-crucial reshuffle after turn 2 really means that spacing a card before turn 3 isn't as effective as spacing a card on turn 3. Once you space a card on turn 3, that card will not be seen until the mid-war shuffle around turn 7. So that could really pull a strong US card. US-Japan treaty, NORAD is a good one. Those cards will not be seen until late war, essentially. Spacing them before turn 3 means that they're just going to get reshuffled back in, and you're going to be afraid of NORAD or special relationship if it's active the entire game if you just spaced it beforehand. On scoring, this is where the USSR can get a really explosive start, because if they know scoring very well, they're going to be hitting it at every point. And if the USSR player is very aggressive, very dominating, he's going to see the all-crucial double score, and I'm going to go through it right here. So in turn 1, turn 2, there is a chance of Middle East, Europe, and Asia being scored. I put these two in the same block because essentially this is pre the reshuffle. So in these 2 turns, it's very crucial for the USSR to be trying to score or trying to dominate actually one of these 3 locations. After the reshuffle, the scoring cards which have seen play will be reshuffled into the deck, getting ready for turn 3 to be redrawn, or turn 3 plus to get redrawn. Now this is crucial. If there has been no scoring card before turn 3, so you haven't seen Asia or you haven't seen Europe, they're going to be in the next scoring block, which is the turn 3 scoring block, and will only be scored once for that group. If you do see them before that, so turn 1, turn 2, there's a chance they could appear in turn 3. Now this could be where the USSR create that win, is when they have domination in Europe and Asia. They both get scored in turn 1, turn 2. turn one or turn two, and then they get scored again in turn three right after the reshuffle. And that's the real strength of the Soviet aggressive opening. It's really knowing when the scoring cards are going to land and when they're going to hit. By basic deduction work, you'll be guessing which locations haven't been hit. But in early war, it's very key because it can either save the US in a very tight point situation or tip the balance for the USSR situation. So it's getting these timings down and learning when to really push for certain areas.